I'd like to call the January 2014 meeting of the Board of Education to order. First item, invocation. Karen.
Good evening. Tonight our hearts are heavy for the loss of one of our Currituck County High School students, Chelsea Bartles. At this time I'd like to take a moment of silence and pray for her family, her loved ones, her friends. I didn't know Chelsea very well, but when I did see her, she always had a smile on her face and was happy to see you, and she had a lot of friends, and she was just very loving and a wonderful young lady.
Okay, thank you. Next, Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Newbern.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Christopher Grimes from our Air Force Junior ROTC to lead us in the pledge this evening.
Joe, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
School spotlight tonight is also on the high school. Ms. Newbern, principal.
Yes, good evening again. It's my pleasure this evening to present our school spotlight, Miss Alicia Bailey-Mazel. She will be sharing this evening our new program, the Teen PEP program. We will not have students present this evening, as hopefully they are all home studying for their exams, with the exception of our student school board members. Ms. Mazel.
Thank you, Ms. Newbern. Good evening. As Ms. Newbern said, I am Alicia Mazel. I'm the school social worker at Currituck County High School, and I also have J.P. Knapp Early College and 3 elementary schools. And also, we actually do have one of our Team PEP members here, Miss Katie Traylor. She is a member of Team PEP. So I will briefly discuss with you what Team PEP is, and then if you have any questions, we will move into that. So we're going to get started with our first slide, and it's just a video, a short video, basically, of what Team PEP is.
Teen PEP is knowledge.
Teen PEP is amazing.
Teen PEP is unique.
Teen PEP is great.
Teen PEP is confidence.
I think the value is phenomenal, and I think every school ought to have such an experience, whether it's a school that is in crisis or whether it's a school that is blossoming with talent.
I think it's just so much better than any other program there is out there, because it not only helps students school-wide learn from their peers, it also helps the students in Teen PEP really grow.
Teen PEP is a program that empowers teenagers to teach each other how to really make healthy decisions in terms of sexual practices.
It's what Teen PEP peer educators, the value for them is that they learn how to develop leadership skills. They're obviously learning a lot of information, but learning how to share it amongst their peers and not be reluctant to do so, I think that's probably the biggest difference in them.
Hi, you guys. My name is Zanilda, and today we're going to do an activity called Why Teens Wait to Have Sex and Why Teens Have Sex.
Peer education, especially at the teen level and the high school level, is powerful. We know all too well about peer pressure, both for good and for bad. We know the power of students being able to teach something that they've learned themselves and have a strong belief system behind. And we know how much, especially around issues of sexuality and identity, we know how powerful the teen voice is one to another.
The outreach was for me basically a stepping stone, because it taught me how to talk to other people, preparing you to talk to your friends or your parents, and it was you reaching out to younger freshmen and educating them on what they sometimes don't know or have questions about.
Our students get an opportunity to be teachers. They learn things better when they're the teacher, and I think that students learning from students is extremely effective.
Teen Pep is unforgettable. I came into this class thinking it was just going to be like another health class. We'd just be teaching the students everything we've always learned. But Teen Pep really takes a different approach to things.
There's so many things that schools gain from having Teen Pep. This program really has the ability to transform school culture where positive peer pressure and responsible sexual decisions are valued.
We're living in what is now known as, more than any time else in history, as a global community. And teenagers need to be ready for that global community to take on a world of diversity in terms of ideas and culture and communication. And I think it's the Teen Pep experience that gives these youngsters the basic tools that they need to work with.
We get a great deal from our investment in teacher training, from our investment in personnel. We get that not only from evaluations of the program and student voice, but we know that the students who are engaged in Teen Pep have the ability, the information, and the resources to make very, very sound personal decisions in their lives, as well as to advise their friends.
I love Teen Pep.
I love Teen Pep.
I love Teen Pep.
We are
Teen Pep.
So there you have it. That's just a snapshot of what Teen Pep has to offer. And so through my slides, I will present to you what Currituck County High School will be doing. I will introduce the stakeholders to you, as well as tell you who our Teen Pep students are for our upcoming semester. Okay, our stakeholders at Currituck County High School are our principal, Ms. Diane Newbern, Ms. Virginia Arrington, myself as the team coordinator. Susan Buzzard and Michael Kratzer are our program advisors. They will actually be teaching the course to the juniors and seniors. Kelsey Seibert, our guidance counselor, is a stakeholder, Jennifer Hopkins, and Selena Harris. And stakeholders, what we do is we come together monthly or as needed just to talk about what's needed. Also the members of the Princeton Learning Center, they come and they meet with us just to help guide us along the process. So what's the purpose of Teen Pep? Teen Pep is a sexuality education program. They offer a comprehensive sexual health curriculum, which I have today, and you guys will be receiving. We're going to just keep it at the central office. That way anyone can see it, parents, anyone will have the opportunity to look at the curriculum. It is a peer education program. As I stated earlier, juniors and seniors were recruited. They went through an application process, an interview process. They were selected. They went on a retreat for 3 days. And so they were the ones that are selected to actually take the class. So they will be trained to deliver to the structured workshop to the freshmen. What happened is we applied, Kiba Baldwin and myself, we applied for the grant, didn't know if we were going to get it. We received the news that we did receive the money and that we will move forward January 22nd, 2014. So what will Teen Pep offer? Academic development. And through the academic development, what's going to happen is it's going to engage students in their own learning process. We all know that a lot of times young people learn better when they're hearing things from amongst their peers. So that is what the Princeton Learning Center came up with when they wrote this curriculum, is that they learn better from working with each other. Develop student reasoning and analytical and research skills. Community building, helping students understand perspectives of different people. We're not all the same. We don't all learn the same. We don't all do things the same. And that is, if you remember in the video how they were in the small groups, that's how we're going to actually present Teen Pep, in these small groups with the peer educators. They're going to work with the freshmen. They're going to put them in small groups, and they're going to learn from one another. Connecting students across cliques. We all know that cliques are in our school system. But what Teen Pep does, when we pull the freshmen out, they don't get to sit with their friends. We strategically separate them so that they are working with there's 2 peer educators that we assign to them the entire semester. So for the 5 workshops and the 1 family night, they will work with the same small group for all those 6 sessions. Okay? Leadership development, providing opportunities to learn and practice leadership skills. Not only the peer educators, but also the freshmen. They're going to learn through the small groups, through the role play activities or behavior rehearsal, whatever. They're going to learn how to use leadership skills at the same time. Personal and professional skill development, providing students with negotiation and communication skills. Once again, through the small groups, they're going to learn how to communicate with each other, how to talk to each other, and also how to communicate with their parents. As we all know, talking about sex is a very uncomfortable topic. It's uncomfortable for peers to talk to peers, and it's also uncomfortable for peers to talk to their parents. But what we're hoping is that they will embrace the skills that we give them and the opportunities that we give them to talk with their parents. And that goes right into the parent-child communication, providing safe venues for dialogue between parents and youth. What happens is, after each workshop, the students will be given homework to take home. It's going to give the parents just like a small synopsis of what we did, and then they will talk to their students about it. They will fill out the 2 or 3 questions, whatever it is that we discuss or whatever it is that's on the homework sheet, and they will bring it back. And what we're trying to do is offer incentives so that when they bring those back, there will be a small incentive for them. Logistics, recruiting, selection of juniors and seniors. We have 5 seniors and 9 juniors at Currituck County High School. Like I said earlier, they went through an application and interview process. In November, we had a 2-night, it was overnight retreat in Virginia Beach. It was an awesome, awesome activity. They were really able to bond with one another. We did a lot of team building exercises, and they were able to really get the curriculum, look at it, and start to analyze and to start putting together their thoughts and what was going to be difficult for them and how we can overcome those obstacles. Now, they will offer 5 workshops, as I stated earlier. What I've given you is the pacing guide that the Princeton Center has already put out for us. Now, that is actually tentative because the way they set it up, we've decided to do it differently. They've set it up that we do the workshops over 3 days, but we've decided to do the workshops over 1 day. So we will get into that a little bit later. The budget, they have given us a $7,000 one-year stipend, and I have given each of you a copy of the stipend, and pretty much they have shared with us how we should use the money. As far as for our teachers, they will get a small stipend. The team coordinator will get a small stipend, and then supplies, the retreat, just things that we would need, T-shirts, and even for subs, to cover subs for the days that the the advisors will have to go out of town for trainings. But like I said, it's only for 1 year, so we will need funding for future programming. I actually thought that JCPC, which is the Juvenile Crime Prevention Center, would be a way for us to use money from the grant that I already received to help fund this in the future, but I was told today that that is not going to happen because they're telling me that there's no correlation between sexual health and misbehaviors as far as behaviors that we're seeing in the court system. So I was denied that today, so I will be seeking future funding to make sure that this program continues. So what it's going to look like. The class will be offered second bell, second semester coming up starting January 22nd. So during second bell, the students that have enrolled in the class, it is a credit class, so they will receive credit for this class. It will be second bell. Ms. Buzzard and Mr. Kratzer will be teaching the class to them. This is the curriculum here. This is the curriculum. You have the pacing guide. It shows you day by day, every day, what the students will be learning and what they're responsible for and how we lead up to our workshops. And then the last night is a family fun night, and that's when we actually invite the freshmen to come out with their parents. And we're going to do everything just like we would a regular workshop, except for we involve the parents in the workshop. So they would actually participate with their students in some of the activities. The peer educators will be doing role play skits for everyone that particular night. So basically, that is Team Pep in a nutshell. If you have any questions, I will attempt to answer them at this time.
Any of the board members have any questions? Thank you very much, Alicia. Appreciate it. Okay, next, School Board Appreciation, Superintendent Scholler.
Good evening, board members and student board members. January is School Board Appreciation Month, so we've put together a little gift basket for each of you, and we're calling this the Breakfast of Champions. So, because we know that you have to wake up early and, you know, you have a lot of work to do to support us, and we really, really appreciate it. So your Breakfast of Champions is going to begin with your apple a day, because you represent education, and we appreciate you very much for that. And then you're going to move on to your pecan swirl, because life can be a whirlwind sometimes, and you're going to need all the energy you can get. And to wash that down, we've purchased some tension tamer tea.
Oh, wonderful.
And this is, we recommend that you drink 2 or 3 cups of this every day. For the crazy times, we've got a box of craisins for you. Make sure you eat your fruit. That goes along with that. Something I learned while putting this together, too, this is a peanut bar. And if you dream about peanuts, it means you're trying to get to the root of a problem. So that's what you do best, and we appreciate that. We've also included some Almond Joys. Some of you have Almond Joys, some of you have Mounds, because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Probably most of the time you do. And we want you to be especially cognizant of payday.
All right.
Okay? Don't forget payday. Eat one of these. And last but certainly not least, we've included some sweetheart cakes, because we really and truly do appreciate everything you do as board members. We are blessed, and we know it, and we appreciate all you do.
Nice.
And there are a few little other things in there that you can see. And for our student board members, you guys don't need all this stuff because you already have a lot of energy. So we've included for you a beach blanket and a little memo book, and also some hugs and kisses, because we appreciate everything that you do. Okay? Thank you all.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next, an update from the work session that the board had today. During the work session, we heard another presentation from Pete Catalfamo from Catalfamo and Associates. We also received tentative timelines for the budget this coming year. We discussed a voucher litigation resolution. We also heard a presentation from Superintendent Scholler and Ann Mackin on the teacher employment law, which requires the superintendent and board to identify the top 25% of the teachers in our school district and then offer them a $500 a year increase for giving up their tenure. Then we heard an update on strategic planning, then an update on Wi-Fi on school buses. From Mr. O'Brien, we heard a review of the technology plan, which we will take action on in just a minute. Second reading of the 9,000 level policies, which are for facility planning and construction. And then the board discussed possible changes in meeting times and dates. Next, I need approval of the agenda, and I would like, before I request the approval, to delete item C2, which is the audit approval, because we will do that at the February meeting and not tonight. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion at all on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next, student board member reports. Thomas Poston, Katie Traylor, Rick Loggy, and Alexandra Carter.
Thank you. Throughout the county, students, faculty, and staff are getting back into the swing of things after Christmas break and a very icy first week back last week. For elementary, middle, and elementary and middle schools and CCHS. The third 9 weeks begins next week. And I'd also like to announce that rehearsals are underway for the Currituck County Theater spring musical, The Music Man, which is coming up in April. Katie?
Hey, y'all. This is exam week at the high school, and I'd like to wish all the students best of luck on their tests. Due to the new statewide rules, all exams and makeup exams must be administered during this 5-day period. The CCHS Beta Club is sending about a dozen students to the North Carolina State Beta Club Convention. Beta members from Currituck will be competing in a range of competitions from chemistry to vocal music. Now to you, Rick.
This weekend, the girls and boys basketball teams will have makeup basketball games at Perquimans at 6 and 7:30, and then on Saturday at home at 1. So if you can make it, go out and support the Knights basketball team. NAP had its exam week the week before we left for break, and I hope everybody had a good week. Had a good break, and exams went well. We've just started our new spring semester with all our new classes. And thanks to Ms. Scholler for our blankets and candy and book and appreciation stuff. Thanks.
Good evening, members of the board and guests. I get to talk about some really awesome news from Oyak Middle School. The MMS FBLA had a team of 3 7th graders, Colin Coffey, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Caleb Kite, and Tristan Gatt. They competed in a stock market simulation game competition, and they actually placed second in the nation against other middle schools, high schools, and even community colleges. So they are to be commended for great work, and way to go Bulldogs, because they're absolutely amazing. Also, thank you for the gifts, and thank you so much for the opportunity to serve on this board. I'm really enjoying serving with everyone, and again, hope everyone had a great break, and thank you.
Can I just say that I was in the high school division of that competition, and I didn't know that, but that's really impressive. It was really hard, so that's really awesome. That those guys
And that was a stock market game?
Yeah.
Could you give us those three names again?
They actually, I believe there is another stock market game in the spring semester that they plan to compete again. I know they offered it to the high school division as well, but I guess we just weren't on the ball with that. I was told they checked several times a day, so I think we have some future stockbrokers in our county.
Second in the nation.
Yeah. Second in the entire nation, and I can tell you that there are over 250,000 FBLA members in the country.
Wow. But then we may
That's
end
impressive.
up like Martha Stewart. We may not.
So the competition started off with you getting like a base amount of money, and then we checked, like the team that I was on at the high school checked 2 days afterwards, and it's $100,000 hypothetically to start off with. Mm-hmm. The top 10 teams were all over $10 million in like 2 days.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, like,
if I'm not mistaken, this is college.
Yeah, it sounded like they were in like
too.
the
It's
same
not
bracket
just-
as us.
Yeah.
So like that's
great.
really impressive that they
It
did
is.
that well.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Jeez. Next, overnight field trip request.
Yes, we have one. Currituck County High School Beta Club State Convention in Greensboro. That's January 31st through February 1st.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that field trip? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, technology plan review. Mr. O'Brien. And while he's coming up here, I would just like to thank Thomas, Rick, Katie, and Alexandra for serving with us on the board.
Thanks for being the board we're serving.
Good evening. I come before you tonight to ask your approval of our technology plan. This will be the technology plan for the district for 2014 through 2016. This is a plan that's required by the state and follows the format that the state lays out. I want to start by reading you what our vision statement is. And remember, the vision statement is the ideal future state. Students, teachers, and other employees of the Currituck County School District will have ready access to any technology tools needed for teaching, learning, and business operations. Professional development will always be available and provided to meet the needs of faculty and staff. Hardware, software, and connectivity problems will be corrected immediately so the impact on the user is negligible. That's an ideal future state, and we're working hard to get there. But the plan itself is broken down into 5 priorities, and I'll just hit on those briefly. We'll start with priority 5, which is 21st century leadership for all schools. And the leadership, I think, for the technology and digital teaching and learning starts with you, and I appreciate the support that you've provided, and then to the superintendent's office, who's very active in supporting technology, and on down into our schools. So we will work to continue to nurture that. Priority 1 is a shared services model. That's where we look at offerings that the state has prepared from Race to the Top money, called the NC Education Cloud, where now the state provides free to us our internet access, our firewall, and our filter. Not only do they provide the internet access, but they say if we get up to 60 or 70%, they'll just give us a bigger pipe, which is really awesome. So we're going to continue with that. We're going to look at other ways to save money, refurbish computers, using E-rate any way that we can. And so once you've got those kind of things in place, then the next thing to look at are devices. And this priority is universal access to personal teaching and learning devices. Obviously, we took a big step in that direction this year with Chromebooks for all the students in grades 6 through 12. And all the students at Knapp Early College have PC laptops. And we're going to look to maintain that, to improve the support, to look at ways to improve access at the lower grades. It wouldn't necessarily be one-to-one, but maybe additional carts or those kinds of things, so that everyone has access to a device when they need it. The next priority is access to digital teaching and learning resources. If you've got all the devices, but you don't have the software or the resources you need to actually help you teach or learn, then they're not much good. So this priority is about looking at ways to increase the use of Homebase, which has a vast array of resources and study guides and curriculum materials and assessments, and helping our teachers learn to use that, and also looking for ways to move towards digital textbooks, which is, again, that's a state initiative to move towards digital textbooks, and we're, in our plan, we'll be exploring those things. And finally, if you've got all that stuff, you have to know how to use it. So priority 4 is a model of technology-enabled professional development. So we'll work to coordinate technology professional development with all the other professional development that goes on in the district to make sure our teachers and our students know how to make the best use of the resources that we're providing to them. This plan has been reviewed by the District Media and Technology Advisory Committee, and it has been reviewed by the Regional Digital Teaching and Learning Consultant. It's been reviewed by the Division of Connectivity Services at DPI. If you approve it, then it will go to the State Board this spring for approval.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion, or does anybody have any questions for Paul? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Paul. Next, voucher litigation resolution. Superintendent Scholler.
Board members, the North Carolina School Board Association has asked all districts to join a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the voucher law. The complaint that they've launched asserts that the legislation violates the state constitution by using public dollars for non-public purpose, private education opportunities outside the constitutionally required general and uniform system of free public schools, failing to require participating private schools to adhere to any educational standards or practice non-discriminatory admissions, diverting school dollars from the state school fund, which is to be used exclusively for establishing and maintaining a uniform system of public schools, and creating a system of selective secondary educational opportunities that denies students equal opportunities. So they have asked us to pass this resolution, and if you'll bear with me, I need to read the resolution. And it says, whereas the North Carolina General Assembly passed Senate Bill 402, hereafter the budget bill in July 2013, and whereas the budget bill includes a provision appropriating $10 million to provide private school vouchers, whereas the fiscal note prepared for an earlier version of the voucher legislation indicates the General Assembly's intent to increase annual appropriations for the program to $50 million per year, whereas the voucher program created in the budget bill does not require participating private schools to provide students with the opportunity to receive a sound basic education as required by the North Carolina Constitution, whereas the voucher program created in the budget bill does not require participating private schools to engage in non-discriminatory admission practices, whereas the voucher program requires the State Board of Education to reduce funding to each local Board of Education in an amount equal to the local board's per pupil allocation for average daily membership multiplied by the number of students who have received vouchers and were enrolled in the local school board schools during the prior semester, whereas reducing funding to public schools to fund a private school voucher program, particularly in the wake of substantial cuts to public education funding during the previous 5 years, will significantly impair local boards' ability to ensure that students have the opportunity to receive a sound basic education as required by the North Carolina Constitution. Whereas the voucher program created in the budget bill uses public funds for non-public purpose in violation of the North Carolina Constitution. Now therefore be it resolved, the Currituck County Board of Education hereby agrees to join as a plaintiff the pending litigation, captioned Reverend Robert Richardson III, Michael and Dolores Galloway, Stephen W. Sizemore, and the North Carolina School Boards Association versus the State of North Carolina, the North Carolina State Board of Education, and the North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority, and authorizes the attorneys engaged by the North Carolina School Board Association and other plaintiffs to represent the Board of Education in the litigation, with the litigation costs to be borne by the North Carolina School Board Association's Legal Assistance Fund.
Do I have a motion for approval? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or any discussion? Now, if a student does leave our school district and gets a voucher, and then for whatever reason comes back to our school district, we do not get that money back. So, okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, teacher employment law and the 25% identification process. Superintendent Scholler and Ann Mackin.
Yes, board members, at our work session, we presented the process that we're using to identify the top 25% of our teachers who have served 3 consecutive years in our school system. This is something we're required by law to do, and you are required to approve the system that we're using. The point system we're using to identify the 25% of teachers is strictly based on evaluations and numerical values, so we're trying to make it as objective as possible. The 25% who are identified will be offered in exchange for their tenure, 4-year contracts, and a $500 bonus. However, I'd like to point out that that $500 bonus is only guaranteed or funded by the General Assembly through next year. So I'm asking you to approve the process that's being used to identify those teachers.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Because we heard the, reasoning and rationale behind, all this at the work session. Anyway, have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next, consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Oh, we have 2 motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, public comment session. I don't think anybody signed up. Nobody signed up? Okay, next information items. February work session will be February 10th, 2014 at the Knapp Professional Learning Center at 5. And the February Board of Education meeting will be February 10th, 2014 right here at the historic courthouse at 7. Okay, board member comments. We'll begin with Ms. Kraft.
Okay.
I just had the opportunity to see the Moyock Elementary School Christmas program. As always, it was wonderful. And then I visited Currituck County High School and arrived just in time for an assembly featuring the high school band and the chorus. What a treat. In addition, visited the library in time to see a ugly Christmas sweater contest. So it was quite a trip. Even one gentleman who had a ghillie suit on that had to be plugged in to be judged, so quite interesting. And also, as Alexandria said, the stock market game, I had emailed Julie West, who's the coordinator for this, to congratulate her, and she said, thank you, I gave them the opportunity and they loved it. They did it all on their own, and I'm proud of them. We'll see what happens next. So, yeah, I think we got some stock market people coming up.
Great. Ms. Gaddis?
I got to enjoy the Knott's Island Christmas play that was, or musical kind of mix. It was very nice. One of our other school board members was there to join me. I'm very proud to hear about Moyock Middle doing the stock market thing. Good luck to everybody that's taking their exams, and I hope those that have already taken them get great results. Other than that, again, we're saddened for Chelsea's family here in Currituck, and I hope everybody hugs their kids a little tighter this evening. So.
Thank you. Ms. Etheridge?
I just want to welcome everyone back after Christmas holiday and a break. I hope everybody's refreshed and raring to go for 2014. I think everyone that I talk with is very optimistic about this coming 2014, and I just want to thank our teachers and staff for everything that you do, our young people up here for representing the youth of Currituck County. I'm very happy with all of y'all, and thank you. And like I say, I wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Mr. Simmons?
I had a chance to go with Ms. Gaddis and see the Knott's Island chorus concert at Christmas. Very good. I also had a chance to go with Ms. Kraft to the Moyock Elementary School Christmas play, which was always entertaining. I had a chance to go to Moyock Middle School's chorus concert, very good for Christmas. I had a chance to stop by the high school and see the high school band and chorus concert and see a play that was put on in the gym the last day of school. Very, very good. Just you see how much talent we have in our county if you get a chance to go and see some of our kids perform. It's not always math and it's not always English, but when you see these kids in a chorus concert or a band concert or a play, you see how much talent our kids have and how much talent our teachers have teaching our kids. Next, had a chance to see a couple basketball games. Man, some tough competition out there. Kids play their hearts out every week. Last but not least, Board Appreciation Month. I just want to tell this board how much I appreciate working with this board. What a joy each month to come and sit with this board to make decisions for this county. You know, when you've sat it with people when people are screaming and hollering at each other, this board can always sit down and rationalize and make decisions what's best for our county. So I'd like to thank this board for being able to work with you guys.
Thank you.
Feelings mutual.
Okay, I'd just like to mention that I visited Moyock Middle School and, you know, took a tour of the school and got to see, you know, students very actively engaged in learning. And it looked like they were having a lot of fun learning, too, which is really good. And the Chromebooks that the board purchased for them were being used extensively in most of the classes, which is good to see. And once again, I'd like to thank Allison for, you know, being honored tonight during Board Appreciation.
Very creative.
Might be Darnell's dinner.
Really. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.